Whakalawhalahiatu and good evening. This is our news bulletin for tonight. There is a delay in building of the school in Paliasi. Australian government's assistance for the school development on the island will see the start of the project for the new primary school building at the beginning of next year. Honourable Toke Talangi said some of the assistance for the project has been dispersed.
$4 million, as I understand, has already been given to New Zealand to manage the school project. So it's there. It's just a question of whether we start. We're waiting for the Australians to come back to us with the final design of the buildings so that we can actually start. We were ready to start before the end of this year. They've delayed another thing, and I suspect that part of the delay was probably caused by the change in government and so on. I respect that. But we expect, as I understand it now, to start in February, build a school as quickly as possible.
That is Honourable Premier Toke Talangi. Niue's reliance on fossil fuels looks to be dramatically reduced with government's efforts to ensure there is sustainable electricity for the island from sources other than fuel. Work on the design, manufacture and installation of a solar power grid, connected generators and battery-backed power stabilization project is this week progressing with the arrival of overseas experts to install the solar units. Last year, the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat agreed to provide $4 million from the Pacific Environment Community Fund for Niue's renewable energy project. The project aims to replace 360,000 kilowatt-hours of diesel-powered electricity with solar-generated electricity directly into the main grid. It is projected that the plant at the power station will generate 200 kilowatts of electricity into the main power grid around the island. Plans to set up a public transport system is taking a bit longer than expected as logistics are finalized. Discussions between Niue Tourism, Chamber of Commerce and the island's largest accommodation provider, Matavai Resort, are ongoing as they try to gauge how this will work without affecting other sectors. Niue Tourism says that about 60% of feedback from visitor surveys has suggested that they would like to have the option of public transportation to improve their visitor experience. Over the past few weeks, there have been some trial runs with drop-off and pickups at some of the restaurants on the island, but there is still much that needs to be figured out to gauge how feasible this venture will be. Although the service is intended for both locals and tourists, the shuttle operators say they're still trying to factor in the costs and times that will be required to make this work. With visitor numbers expected to increase over the busy festive season, Matavai Resort's shuttle bus schedule looks to start on the 13th of December, but this will still be part of their trial period. Niue Tourism will also be assisting in determining pick-up and drop-off points within village areas and where there are also scenic sites. This development marks good progress in moving forward with the changes in the tourism sector and add value to Niue as a destination. White Ribbon Day is commemorated annually on the 25th of November to highlight efforts to eliminate violence against women. As a campaign that began in 1991, it has grown over the years into the largest men's anti-violence program in the world. Niue's police department has shown their support towards the campaign, displaying anti-violence banners at their office in town, as well as distributing wristbands. In some countries, programs are run over a course of 16 days of activism, starting on the 25th of November until the 10th of December. This year's theme is From Peace in the Home to Peace in the World. Let's change militarism and end violence against women. Although Niue did not hold an activity yesterday, the national campaign has been deferred until the 6th of December that will be coordinated by Niue Police. Details have yet to be finalized, but the hope is that the community will band together to support the anti-violence campaign. The Too Long Philippines Concert for a Cause at the Multi-Purpose Hall was a major success, raising over $6,000 on Saturday evening. The concert, organized by the local Filipino community, was to raise funds for victims of the Super Typhoon Haiyan. The event had many locals and visitors pouring in to show their support. All eyes were fixed on the stage as presentations and short videos were projected for all to see and learn a bit more about the Philippines. In a few hours, the crowd was taken on a journey that reflected a little bit about the history, Filipino culture, and colorful displays of performing arts in song and in dance. It was apparent that the performances were filled with pride and passion, much to the delights of the audience. There was an overwhelming sense of community spirit as people gave money to show their appreciation, and the intermission breaks were just as entertaining. Some students from Niue High School voluntarily offered their time to learn dances for breaks with an array of colors and dances from as far as Samoa, Tonga, Tokelau and Niue, and also youngsters Fernando Huihanga and Luciano Tawasi surprised the crowds with a heartfelt rap dedicated to their teachers. One group took it upon themselves to collect goods for a raffle that raised about $500 towards the efforts, and that was drawn on the evening and offered to the local Filipino community. The ever-growing Filipino community on the island expressed their gratitude for the generosity of the Niuean people, who have definitely got behind the fundraising efforts. A representative from the community said that Saturday raised over $6,000, and that does not include money raised from hand collections or the other fundraising efforts. They have also identified 2 groups in the Philippines who they will be sending funds to, and those funds will be sent by the end of next week. The overwhelming feeling was that the show gave people a greater sense of appreciation for a small but vibrant community that has come to call Niue a home away from home. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Do join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday.